Hello, Cinema Peeps!
Hello!
Hey Cinema Peeps, welcome back to another Talkie Tuesday.
Hey Cinema Peeps! Hey Cinema Peeps, welcome to another episode of Talkie Tuesday.
Did it. I'm awake,
Woo.
maybe. But we shall see. Hello, Cinema Peeps!
Hey, Cinema Peeps! Ooh, can you hear that siren? Look at that. Oh, excellent noise.
Can't hear it at all.
Well, Zoom probably can't hear it, but I'm sure the microphone will pick it up, so.
The podcast is being recorded. Time to scope out the
please
fire.
silence your sirens. Thank you.
Right, just stick your head out of your window. Quiet on set!
Yeah.
God!
We're shooting here. Come on, shut up.
Rude people. Rude people. Don't.
Oh no.
Did it. Did it. Well, we're in spooky month.
Yes, spooky, scary month. Yes.
I know we released episode last or this week. What time is a figment of our imaginations, but this is our first podcast in the spooky month.
Mm-hmm.
So with this spooky month happening, do you have any particular plans, Kendra? I know one of my friends, he is planning to watch a whole bunch of scary movies, play scary video games for stream, and make a Halloween costume.
Wow.
A lot of people have plans for watching scary movies. I am going to be lucky if I could squeeze in one.
I know one.
I'm mostly watching Hallmark Harvest. They call it Harvest movies right now. Harvest. Yeah, not quite Halloween, but Harvest.
That's just a little out of their realm.
Right? And I'm really trying to think hard. I don't think they've made a Halloween. I know we've discussed this before, but I'm like really trying to think. I'm like,
I feel like they'd be stepping into Hocus Pocus territory. A Halloween film.
And they're like, that's a line we cannot cross.
No, yeah.
We cannot. But anyways,
Right?
yes. Do you have any spooky, scary plans? Like, I might try to play some spooky video games.
Heck
Like
yeah.
I said, I would like to try to watch some spooky films. Because I always say, oh yeah, I should watch that. Oh yeah, I should watch that. Oh yeah, I should watch that. Oh, never watched that. Oh yeah,
Never watched that yet.
Right, this month I'm going to try to watch Halloween. We'll see if it's on a
Nice.
streaming service, or maybe I'll rent it from the library, but I'll figure that
Heck
out.
yeah. Awesome. Yes. Well, yes, actually funny you should mention it. I have started watching some spooky movies for this month.
Yeah, Mary Poppins.
Yes, Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
No, I did start I guess it would have been just before October, because I started going through all of the streaming services to try to add any and all scary movies they had on there so that I could start a list and be like, all right, let's start our movie marathons. So I have watched a few. I watched Friday the 13th, but not the original 70s version. I watched the version that has Danielle Panabaker and Jared Padalecki in it.
Oh, beautiful.
Basically only watched it for them. The movie itself, I'll just be honest, it's not the greatest. I mean, personally, Friday the 13th isn't my favorite scary movie. I prefer Halloween over, like, if you were to do like a Jason versus Michael Myers.
Oh,
I would be
okay.
Team Michael Myers all the way.
I was just about to ask, who is the villain for Friday the 13th?
Jason
Is it Jason?
Voorhees. Yes, it's Jason.
That's hockey mask guy. That is the Camp
Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know stuff.
Yes, you did.
Barely.
Yeah. Yeah, this was like the 2009 remake.
Yes.
So this was made 4 years into Jared Padalecki being on Supernatural. I'm guessing this was around the time when they were thinking Supernatural was going to be done, because they were like I had mentioned before, Aaron Kripke had written like for 5 seasons, and then that was going to be it for him, and then they decided to pick it up further. So I'm thinking that was around the time he did this movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it did not hold up nowadays, that's for sure. I remember it being better when I saw it the first time way back in the day. But yeah. So I watched that one. And then I watched Mary Poppins, but aka The Witch, as I call it.
Vitch.
The Witch. It's The Witch, but like the title, how they have it spelt on the poster is like two V's. So I
Hilarious.
always pronounce it The Witch.
The Vitch.
And that one's a really, really good one to watch. Highly recommend that one.
Yeah, because I remember I originally, because Kendra had asked on Instagram and I had joked it was Mary Poppins. But my serious guess was It, because I thought that was the kid from It.
Kind of looks like him, yes.
Right? But I'm assuming that's not him then at all.
No, it's not him, no.
His name? I already forgot. I just know he's in the Shazam, that kid.
Yeah, that guy.
That kid who makes that weird Game of Thrones reference. Yeah, that kid.
Yes, that guy.
He's done stuff.
He's been in things, yeah.
My brain just doesn't work function at all.
No, this guy's a different guy. But
Okay.
yeah, The Witch is definitely one I recommend to everybody for the spooky times because it's kind of like a psychological thriller more than it is like a scary movie, because the scare comes in the suspense that's being built, not so much like bah kind of thing, right?
Right.
So the concept of it is that this family is banished from their New England township for religious reasons. And so they're banished to their own farmland just on the outskirts of the woods. And there's this witch that lives in the woods that has kind of cursed their land and starts kind of like cursing them in different ways. So each of the family members, one by one, kind of gets affected by it. Until the teenage daughter, who ends up being the last one left, spoiler alert, out of all of them. And it's really good. It's creepy. It's very creepy. I enjoy it.
I was just thinking how I need to watch Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. That's a baller.
Ooh, yes.
And that also, that takes place around Thanksgiving, but still. And of course, I'm assuming, Scooby-Doo is American, so I'm assuming that'll be still like November versus Halloween, but fuck it. It's got witches and the Hex Girls, so like,
heck yeah.
Instant classic.
Hex yeah.
But hell yeah, noise.
Yeah. Oh, and then I also did watch Hocus Pocus 2 on Disney Plus.
So, did it live up to all the expectations or did it drown? All right, enough said. We got it. We got the review. We did it.
Right? I mean, I'll just say they pulled a Disney and they really cheesed it up. It was cool seeing all three of them back. Like, they brought back basically all three original witches. Billy Butchison, played by Doug Jones, which was cool. So we got to see him again. He had a few more lines than he did in the first movie, which was kind of cool. But yeah, in true modern day Disney style, they really kind of like cornied it up with like the jokes, and they added a few more musical numbers in there that just kind of really made you cringe a little bit. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just, I guess, because it's such a time jump between when the first one came out. It just, I don't know if they tried to modernize it for kids nowadays and stuff like that, and some of it, I guess, just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't fit very well in a lot of ways. But the funniest thing for me was at the beginning when they first summon the witches back again. The immediate thing they do is sing their version of "Bitches Back" by Elton John. So they're like, "Ooh, the witch! Ooh, the witch! Ooh, the witches are back!" And they're just doing like this little number in the woods, and the two teenage girls who summon them are like, "What are they? Who are they singing to? What's happening?" So I thought that was funny, but. Yeah, it's hard to mess with the original. It's a beloved classic. So I mean, watch it if you want a little bit of cringe, a little bit of laugh. You might like it, but if you're a diehard fan of the original, then you probably won't enjoy it as much.
I did like seeing there was like pictures of them at like the premiere, I guess, wherever they had the Hocus Pocus 2 premiere for a Disney Plus thing.
Yeah,
and like each of the characters who played the witches would stand behind people who were cosplaying as their character.
Oh, cool.
From the movie, which I thought was really adorable.
Yeah.
Showing the love and passion.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I haven't watched Hocus Pocus since you showed it to me, so maybe I'll have to do a back-to-back special or something.
Definitely a classic one to watch on Halloween.
Well, me and my friend were skimming through all the streaming services, and we ran into one and I don't know, maybe you've seen it or maybe you have feelings about it, but the escape room movie.
Oh, yeah, I have heard of it, but I have not seen it.
Yeah, so there's one that came out in 2009, and then the one that we were seeing because it's on Prime right now is the second one, Tournament of Champions, that came out I think last year, 2021 maybe, yeah, or 2022, I don't know.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know how to feel. My friend's like, "Wow, this looks great," and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, why not? I get the vibe that it's probably not going to be very good, but
Oh,
at the
okay.
same time, like, they're short, and it's like, you know what? Fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
The concept doesn't like sound terrible. You're in an escape room that kills you. You know, like,
Yeah.
simple. Like, you know, I guess it really depends on execution of the idea. But
Yeah.
again, they're short, so you know, we were debating about watching those. So I guess it's not quite a Halloween, but like, kind of.
It's in the realm. Scary.
If you like squint hard enough and go, yeah. It could be scary, spooky, you know.
Yep.
All those things wrapped in one. I think you could almost get away with it.
Probably could.
Almost.
Almost.
But yeah, so I watched a lot of cooking shows. I like watching the Christmas ones. The Halloween ones are also dope.
Yes.
Although I've kind of stopped watching the which one is it called? Halloween Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Because 2 years ago they swapped out the host, so it's not is his name John? I don't think his name is John.
Oh, the guy from Mean Girls?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not there anymore?
No, they swapped out this other guy who's like way too serious, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. He's just like, are we ready, bakers? Like, don't get me wrong. Was his like the other guys, was he way too cheesy? Absolutely. But like, that's what I loved about it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a baking show.
Right? So, I don't know. I might try watching some episodes, but however, my favorite cooking show just released a new season yesterday. Nailed It Halloween.
Yeah.
But the most depressing thing is there's only 4 episodes.
Oh.
And I mean, I started skimming through the other episodes, and I guess they usually only have about 6. But still, that's like 2 less than normal.
You could do so much with Halloween.
I know. The first couple episodes, they are like, and obviously in the spirit of Halloween, they are like they're themed episodes. So they had Cobra Kai, and so they've gone a lot of the contestants and everyone's dressing up as like the characters from the show.
Oh, okay.
Obviously they've done a lot of Netflix ones, so they also did one for like The Witcher, where they had
Cool.
them all in these little like leather aprons with like little leather. They're not called shoulder pads. One of the contestants actually knew what it was called, and they were all like, "Wow!" But I guess he LARPs on the weekend, so he knows the feel of all the armors
yes.
and whatnot. But I think this last one, I think, is just more general Halloween spookiness. But
Okay.
yeah, it make me sad. But God, I was fucking dying, Kendra. I was dying. Some of these people's life choices that they make while cooking is just bonkers to me. Bonkers. I don't want to spoil too much, but this one guy was like, "Oh, I have to add melted butter," but he forgot to melt the butter, so he had already mixed in milk and eggs. Now, what would you do in this scenario? Would you A, restart, or B, dig out the butter with your hands, put it in the microwave, and put it back into the mixture?
I mean, I'd probably have to restart, as much as I hate wasting food.
Well, you're wrong. As you're supposed to dig it out with your hands and fucking microwave it. And the judges were just fucking dying because Jacques was like, so he's also like picking up like, again, because he had eggs in that bowl, so he essentially scrambled some eggs and then put in a cake.
Oh my God.
I was dying. I was
Oh my God.
even thinking about it right now hurts my side of how much I was laughing. I was like, oh my God.
Oh my
These
God.
people and their life choices. But that's why they pick them. That's
Yep.
why they pick them.
That's why these people are not cooks and bakers.
Right. But yeah, it was my friend's first time watching the show ever, and she really liked it. And
Nice.
I'm like, even though we only have 4 episodes to watch, you now get the honor of rewatching all the other episodes
Yeah.
and reliving it. I might have to do that. I might just have to rewatch them all again.
Hell yeah.
It's just so good, so funny. But yeah, so that was I guess that's the other Halloween thing I did was I watched Nailed It Halloween special.
Hell yeah. My
The
favorite
freaking
is still
best.
Wes.
Wes. And he also shows up in lots of fun costumes this season.
Oh, nice. I can't wait to see it.
It's great. It is great. But yeah, 4 episodes hurts my heart, but
Oh.
oh well.
Hopefully
guess.
there will be more in the future, but I guess Nicole is busy doing Wipeout with John Cena, so
I guess that's true. She does do a lot of projects now. So
Yes,
maybe they
yes.
don't have enough. But I'm also wondering, I don't know when this was shot
mm.
because like they were very still very social distancing, so I'm wondering if it was still maybe like still not quite the hype, but maybe like the bell curve downward still of pandemic. So we still have to be
yeah.
very careful. So maybe they can only afford so much money to produce so many episodes. So
Maybe.
either way, Netflix made the wrong choice and they should have made more, but that's besides the point. But they're wrong. They are straight up wrong. What was my thought? Well, I guess staying on a slightly spooky topic. Ish is spooky. It's more like terrifying real life scenarios. I wanted to pose a question to you.
Oh, okay.
So, I know you don't watch a lot of crime documentaries or shows and whatnot. But have you? Fuck, I meant to look this up beforehand, but I clearly have no. I'm not good at this. Even though we've been doing this forever, we apparently are not good at it. But there was a show recently, I believe it was in September. I think it was more August. And it starred Renee Zellweger, and I think it was not We Need to Talk About Pam. It was something about Pam. Where it was a fictional TV show about this lady named Pam who, what I got from the trailer was that she got in, like, she just seemed like she was kind of like the nosy neighbor type and just got involved with her neighbor's murder.
Yes.
But now you're like, did she do it or not? But I guess it is based on a true story of Pam who murdered her neighbor for whatever reason. It did not appeal to me, so I did not watch it. But kind of recently, in the last week and a half, there's been this huge discussion about how shows like that, and I think that was kind of the show that was like kind of started bringing this conversation, or not. I guess it's always been talked about, but like kind of like more greater into the spotlight recently. Was that one of the victims, was talking about the show and how distasteful she found it.
Oh.
Because she just felt like they portrayed her as this like quirky woman when she's a murderer.
Yeah.
And like, they're not really sure if you're trying to like give her sympathy or not.
Yeah.
Like it's basically like more putting the killer in the limelight versus the victims.
Yes.
And again, talking about like scenes that just didn't happen. So there was this whole thing where like Pam consoles the children of the parent who she murdered. But this girl's like, this never happened at all. Like, it's just so weird to watch. And so all these questions come up where it's like, well, should we be making shows like this that are rewarding the killer versus, giving respect to the victims? And again, I'll be honest, I kind of live in a naive world. I just kind of assumed a lot of these productions and stuff would consult the victims' families and stuff. Yeah. But it seems like a lot of cases they don't.
Really?
Which again kind of brings up, I think just this week or whatever, the Jeffrey Dahmer thing came out on Netflix. So again, this conversation came up again because a lot of those victims were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I'm finding this out and I have to relive this trauma again.
It's funny you mentioned that too, because I actually had this conversation with some people as well about like
really?
Yeah, about just like how there seems to be a lot of like glorifying these people and stuff. Right. And I know like it still isn't right, but I know Dahmer, especially Jeffrey Dahmer, has been like, he's like an iconic serial killer. He's been around for, well, he hasn't been around, but like his story has been around for years and years. And
it's funny because I, again, being like, I love crime, I actually don't know a lot about Jeffrey Dahmer. I know the name, but I don't know the crime.
Well,
but obviously and not a good guy.
Definitely not. He right. Usually the word cannibal comes next to his
Ugh.
name.
Gross.
So yeah,
Gross.
as far as like fascinating stories goes, his is definitely up there because there's a lump sum of killers that were around in like the 70s and 80s that like
Mhm.
kind of made a name for themselves in a way.
Yeah.
And they all had very different styles and obviously were worthy enough to have like movies and shows made about them.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's part of me wonders if it's done because they figure if they expose if they expose these type of stories enough, it'll like diffuse the motivation to do something similar.
Right, and yet there's this argument of like maybe you're causing more
Right? Yeah. So
because then people go, "Oh, that's how I get famous."
yeah, exactly. Especially in today's
Mhm.
world where that's where literally what everybody wants to do is get famous.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a like a take a chin scratcher kind of thing, right? And then
Yeah.
then you look at someone like Dexter. Like I
Mhm.
guess like you could argue and
Right, so
people
where
have
is that that's what's gonna post to is like kind of
yeah.
where that line is. And again, especially dealing with like real people and these are their real stories.
Mhm.
And again, I guess to be fair, I tend to watch more crime documentaries and even though, because again, there was all this talk about it, I had to go back and watch like Forensic Files because I was just like, oh, I just want to watch murder for some reason.
Yeah.
And just how like the public does have this fascination with murder and serial killers. But again, these are at the end of the day, real people's stories,
Mhm.
you know? And again, like I said, I clearly have blinders on, but like I just kind of assumed they would check with their families like, hey, do you want this told again?
Yeah.
And again, like we said, they seem to be rewarding the killer versus the victims, and they're taking like a back seat.
Yeah, and like you said, if they're writing things into the story that never actually happened, at that
Mm-hmm.
point it's I guess becoming on the verge of fiction, but still like I
Mm-hmm.
would think if you're wanting to tell these types of stories, you want to do it justice and honor
Yeah.
those who were involved kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
And then again, maybe having that conversation maybe with the victims, because maybe
yeah,
maybe they don't want it to be aired out again.
exactly.
And again, maybe I'm just trying to find justifications for the media I consume. But like, at least the nice thing with like Forensic Files is that at least like they'll usually like I say usually because again, I'm not even sure now just because of all this, is
Mhm.
that a lot of times like they're also interviewing like the victims of the situation and like what
Yeah.
happened to them and stuff. So
Yeah.
I like to think that they at least ask permission. And there's some cases where they can't,
Yeah.
so I like to hope that's what they do. And I hope
Yeah.
that is something that maybe going forward, like all these people do, because it does seem like a very simple, common courtesy thing to do.
Right?
And again, I also wonder, kind of going a little more not really abstract-y, but again, it's like actors like Renee Zellweger. It's like, why? Not in a bad, tasteful, like distasteful way, but it's like, why would you choose to do projects like this?
Mhm.
And again, with like Jeffrey Dahmer, it's like, why, as an actor, would you want to do that? And again, it just kind of continued down this rabbit hole because again, it's just scrolling on the streaming services. I was like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, I haven't watched Spencer yet. Again, the story
Mm.
of Princess Diana, who unfortunately like lost her life so young.
Mhm.
But it's like, should we really be making stories about these? I just don't know where the line is now. It's like, do we really? Should we? And the more I thought about it, it's like there's so many movies like we do like autobiography kind of movies and stuff like
Mhm.
so often. But it's like, should we be doing these? Because in some ways, like maybe you could learn something about a person that you didn't know before, maybe. But
Mhm.
again, if they are writing it in with like things that didn't happen, and usually when it's like the things that didn't happen, they're usually trying to like curve. No, they're usually trying to be like trying to lessen the blow of something.
Right? Well, especially like when you mentioned Princess Diana, like with the whole royal family
Mm-hmm.
scenario and stuff like that. Like there's so many depictions and series and movies about the royal family and
Mm-hmm.
members of it and like all the scandal and drama and just everything that goes on in there.
Yeah.
And then you come out and you hear things that like with the whole Harry and Meghan thing and the whole William and Kate thing and like all this other stuff. So it's like, are they trying to put all these different adaptations out there to kind of blur the lines or confuse or just so that people can make up their own minds about what's going on or to hide the truth kind of thing, you know, like it's things like that. And then there's just like there's telling of history, and then there's like just adaptations or trying to like, you know, kind of make their own judgment on it. Like there was a really good series. I think they followed it up with a few different seasons, but the first season in particular was The People versus O.J. Simpson.
Oh, yeah, I think I heard about that.
And for me, I felt like it was done really well because they didn't highlight nor they were very careful with how they told the story and how they like chose shots and things like that so that it didn't favor one side or the other. It was left up to you as the audience member to make a decision whether you thought he was guilty or not, or whether you like that kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, see, that's kind of cool. I enjoy that. I respect that because you're not trying to sway a person one way or the other.
Yeah.
You're kind of telling things as they are, and you're letting the person consuming the information make their own judgment. Or make their own willingness to want to like research more kind of thing. Yeah. And I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and just thinking of like I said, I like watching crime documentaries, but at the same time, what we kind of learned in school, it's like, you know, it's kind of hard to find a non-biased documentary.
Yeah.
So you don't really know, like, sometimes you can get a vibe of like, okay, they're clearly wanting to support one thing or the other kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I remember I watched one, it was called The Staircase. And it was all about this guy, this writer, who, him and his wife were living in their little fucking house. And she apparently went inside. He stayed outside, had a couple drinks or something, came back in, and his wife was at the bottom of the stairs bleeding out to death.
Wow.
And so people were like, how could you not hear that, you know? And then like more of these things started coming up. The fact that because they used to live overseas, that their neighbor died almost the same way.
Oh.
And now that and then they were their godparents to their kids, so then they took their kids and raised them. So and then you didn't realize until like I think it was like the second last episode of that documentary that, because I was like, man, we're getting a lot from, like, the husband's side. Like, we're getting a lot into, like, his life and, like behind-the-scenes stuff, like, I don't feel like normal crew would get to. And then he kind of makes this offhanded comment, but I was like, oh, he funded this. Like, he funded this documentary crew, so it's like,
Yeah.
And, I mean, to be fair, like, there were, like, some points where they're like, I do believe the forensic team not faked evidence, but try to have the evidence come to the conclusion that they wanted. And I could see that, but then it was also hard not to be like, okay, but this is also funded by the guy who is getting prosecuted.
Yeah.
You know, so
kind of sketchy.
It's a little tricky that it's like, are you going to truly put yourself in a, you know, in a compromising lens, you know? Or do you want to be like, no, I'm trying to do this so I can prove my innocence kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I don't know where I land. I'm trying to like go back to the beginning of the points. Like I just don't know where I land on. Like I said, I don't watch a lot of fiction crime shows. And again, about hiring. Like when who was the other guy? Ted Bundy. That was a big one with Zac Efron.
Ted Bundy.
And it kind of got under fire too because they were like, oh, Zac Efron is too attractive to play Ted Bundy. But that was kind of not the appeal of Ted Bundy, but how he got away with it for so long.
Yeah.
They're like, why would this good looking guy do those kind of things? But then again, now thinking with everything that's come out this week, it's like, should we really be highlighting things like this?
Yeah.
With these killers? Because like you said, they like, there's like so many from 70s and 80s that they've just glorified now. So like, I don't know. I kind of feel like we just shouldn't. I just feel like
I agree.
There's so many other stories you could be telling. And again, you know, to, you know, counter argue, be the devil's advocate, we love Dexter. But I guess to me, it's a fictional show. So there's no real victims involved. But I mean, also in that show, it does have times where it does show that Dexter's not the good guy.
Yeah.
In his mind, he thinks he's the good guy.
Yeah.
The reality is he's not the good guy.
I think that show in particular, which is why we've talked about it countless times, that there's just no other show like Dexter, and there probably never will be another show like Dexter, is because it does a very good job of letting you into the mind of a serial killer, at least as far as it letting you into the mind of Dexter.
Yeah.
So we see his struggle as his, like, him wanting to be human, but also having these needs and these urges, and his struggle and kind of the, like, just his awkwardness in life and stuff like that. So there's ways that you can relate, but there's also ways that you understand what he's doing is wrong. So there's still a good balance of, like, you can root for him, but you can also know that, yeah, what he's doing is wrong. The people that, you know, he kind of encounters and has to, unfortunately, you know, maybe hurt or do things, or what the choices he makes aren't always the smartest or the best, or ones that one should make in their real life, kind of thing, right?
No.
But yeah, it to me, it was never done in a way that felt like it was glorifying one thing or another. It always allowed you to kind of use your own, like, common sense, I guess, to be like, okay, yeah, that's wrong, kind of thing, right? Whereas, like, I don't know, I just feel like lately there's been a lot. I don't know if it's just like, you know, let's go with what the young people want to see, kind of thing. Now, I just feel like there's a surge of, like, crime, like the young, like, I don't want to just put it all on young people, but I feel like there's just like
young people,
a trend, like, right? I'm at that age now. I'm like, you young people. But there's, like, a trend of, like, all these crimes and conspiracy shows that that people just eat up, right? And so it's like, oh, well, who cares if it's fact or fiction? Let's just make something, kind of thing, right?
I think it's been a trend for a very long time. I think it's just now we're maybe asking questions we probably should have been asking at the beginning, but we've just been like kind of like you said, like, maybe just caught up in this moment.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, but there's and again, the reason why I brought this topic up was that I was watching the Philip DeFranco show, and he had a psychologist, like, talk about it.
Oh,
and again,
okay.
like, you know, that line between, like, our fascination with, like, this kind of, like, culture and this kind of media, and how, like, there is, like, important benefits to it, but at the same time, it's still towing that line of, like, being over obsessive. And again, the words are hard. And just, like, maybe just reevaluating this kind of media and, like, how we should be approaching it and stuff like that. Because again, with the Jeffrey Dahmer thing, there's been people posting thirst traps about him on, like, social media and, like, TikTok, and it's like, okay, this, like, we shouldn't be glorified. Like, if you are like, I like Evan Peterson, sure,
yeah,
but again, like, can we not glorify what these people did? And that's why I kind of, like, I know it's not really happening on the mainstream TV yet, but a really nice thing that I like on the Philip DeFranco show, free shout out, love getting my daily news from him, is that when, like, events, like, you know, like, when terrible events happen like that, where clearly these people want this kind of attention, he will not mention them by name.
Oh, yeah.
He just goes, this was the shooter. They do have him now in custody, and that's that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, again, like I said earlier, they do this for attention. So if we start nipping that in the... I wish that was something that I hope media starts, you know, kind of implying in the future.
Yeah.
I get there must be some times where it's like, okay, there's somebody on the run. We need to find them, and not being super general about it. But I hope, and I do hope, like, again, I guess the whole bottom line is at the end of this, I do hope we do change some of the things we approach media and about this kind of topics.
Just being a little more conscious of like your moral compass, I guess, in ways. Yeah.
Again, I don't think there's anything wrong. Like I said, I enjoy forensic files, but again, they do focus a lot on, like, how they catch criminals via the forensic technology, and how sometimes they have to, like, and how they, like, invent new technology to catch killers, you know? So it is, I wouldn't say it's more of a science-y show, but that's usually the angle they try to go for.
Well, that's kind of cool.
You know? And again, being, like, finding justice for victims and stuff like that. Yeah. And then there's, what's the other show I liked also on Netflix? Oh, there's also a show called Unsolved. That is.
Okay, yeah.
I like that. And again, it could also probably toe the line between, like, something in real life, but I think a lot of the times, like, and again, I guess I don't know until I do research, so I need to be more conscious of that. But those type of shows, they're trying to be like, hey, this is an unsolved crime. If you know anything, like, please reach out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing with all the crime podcasts and stuff. Like, the idea should be try to be like, hey, let's try to put the victims in the light and try to help, not glorify all these things. But
right? Yeah.
I could probably chat about that all day, but that was just something on my mind recently.
No, I definitely
Something on
think
my
that's an
mind.
interesting thing to talk about. Yeah.
Again, it'll be interesting to see going forward, but I know for me, that definitely kind of changed my perspective, or at least started making me to ask more questions.
Yeah.
About this stuff I consume, which I think is always important.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I think on that horror note, I think that will end today's podcast. Thank you for listening to all of our horror and crazy thoughts that are in our heads. We really do appreciate it.
I like the theme we've got going on today too. Like, we're very like with your shirt and my shirt, we're like kind of
Halloweeny.
Yeah, very Halloweeny.
But yeah, I guess I don't have a. Do I have a recommendation? I don't think I have a recommendation. Or yeah, I do. Nailed it. Watch Nailed It. Just watch Nailed It. Halloween. Just watch Nailed It. Fucking just watch it.
Nice. And
Branch it.
my recommendation, if I'm allowed to recommend it, is going to be to check out Entity. Created, written, and directed by Sean Pulsifer and edited by our very own Kaylee Masudas. We'll leave a link to it if we can down below. It's a wonderful little short film. I got to watch it over the weekend.
Oh, I didn't even get to watch. I didn't get to ask you your thoughts. Oh my god! Everything's falling apart.
Oh my god! All the spirits are like, get the fuck off.
I think so. Oh my god. Oh my god. Close enough. Sorry, you can see my messy desk. Sorry, guys. That's how it's gonna... I have a messy desk. But yeah, we'll leave that somewhere in the description below. And you know what? Since we're gonna be down there anyway, think about leaving us a little like or even a comment about today's episode. Is there any horror films that you like watching during the month of Halloween? Please let us know. Maybe we can add it to our list.
Always down for horror movie recommendations.
Like I said, I'll try to watch at least maybe an actual horror film for next week. I will try my darndest, but I will be hiding under the covers the entire time, shivering, and just being like, no, spooky. But yeah, like and subscribe for more of these kind of videos.
And if you do like what we do, go and check out some of our other episodes.
Yes.
On the channel, we talk about all kinds of movies, games, books, you name it. So we've got tons of different episodes on different things. So give those a like, give those a check out, watch.
Check out. Yeah.
Words. I don't know things. Okay,
Words.
it's time to go.
We got this. But anyways, Cinema Peeps, watch all the content, and we will see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Monkey.
Monkey.
And slap. Wow, GoPro, that was fun.
That was so funny.
That was fun.
It was just like, and we're done.